Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. How the devil are you all? I hope you're all doing well. Before we get on with tonight's video, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all the new subscribers. The response to the last couple of videos has been absolutely fantastic, so thank you very much for joining in the fun. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for all the comments, everyone. There's been absolutely loads of them. I'm trying to answer them all. If I haven't responded to your comment, I'm not ignoring you. It's just that I haven't got round to it yet. If you're seeing the channel for the first time, please subscribe using the button sort of over here somewhere. Give the video a like if you like it, or even if you don't, still give it a like. And hit the notification bell, and then you won't miss any of the future videos. So today's video, I keep saying we're as if there's like Team Beatley Tone. There isn't. It's just me. Research team, you can go home now. It's just me. I don't know why I keep saying we, but I do. I'm aware of that. We're going to be reviewing McCartney III a year on. I know it's not quite a year, but you kind of get the picture. Why am I reviewing it now? Well, it's just because I want to get round to reviewing everything that's gone sort of in the past at some point, and I've been playing McCartney III a bit recently, so I thought I would do a review for it. Just before we get into it, I'll just tell you about what's coming up next on the channel. Now, quite excitingly, I've been invited to do a telephone interview with a radio station in Bradford, which is in Yorkshire in England. So that's up north from where I live. That's why it's a telephone interview about Get Back, which is really exciting. I'm not sure why they've asked me, but I'm very glad that they have. So I think that could be happening this week, and if I'm allowed to post it, then I will. That'll be the next video. If I'm not, then the next video is going to be the Battle of 1971. It's Ram versus Imagine. So that's going to be the next one. So McCartney III. So let me just tell you how this review is going to work, and in fact all the reviews that I do are going to work. I'm going to talk about each track. At the end of that, I'm going to give it a mark out of 10, and at the end, I will add up the total for the album, divide it by the amount of tracks on the album to get an average score for the album. This will help me when in the future when I'm doing album ranking videos. I'll have a rough idea about where everything's going to come, but obviously things can change. Over time, and in fact with this album it has very much changed for me. So you watchers of this channel will probably know that this is quite a new channel. It wasn't going in December 2020 when McCartney III first dropped, and I'm pretty glad that it wasn't, because I would have given it a very different review back then to the one that I'm about to give it. So it just goes to show that time is a great healer. I've never known an album come out with so many variations in vinyl. We had yellow vinyl with black dots. We had a red one, a purple one, a Coke bottle clear vinyl, whatever that is. Just let that sink in for a minute. A Coke bottle clear vinyl. We had a pink one, a green one, an orange one, a white one, a yellow splatter vinyl one, which I really want, and a black one. So which one did I get? Now for the big sexy reveal. I got the black vinyl, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm a vanilla type of guy. But yeah, incredible. incredible amount of variations. I'm not one of these people that has to have every variation of an album when it comes out. So the album did pretty well. It got to number 1 in the UK, the Netherlands, Germany. It was number 1 on the US Billboard Rock chart, but only number 2 in the Billboard Hot 200 or whatever it's called these days. Got to number 2 in Switzerland and Sweden and Austria, number 5 in Japan, and number 26 in Hungary, which was probably just John Heaton on his own. If you know John, he's a British guy that does this sort of stuff, and he lives in Hungary, so it's just a little gag. Okay, so onto the album. First track, Long-Tailed Winter Bird. This is a very odd choice, I think, or maybe it's a brave choice for an opener, because this is one of Macca's experimental tracks, and it's mainly instrumental. It's got about 2.5 lines of lyric, but he doesn't really use it as a lyric. He kind of uses it as a sort of a chant that sort of sounds a bit like a Hammond organ sort of thing. It's very innovative, but not that interesting, because it is only 2.5 lines. But the song sort of starts off with a sort of a very sort of catchy double-tracked acoustic guitar lead part, and it sounds like a single passage, but I think it's actually two guitars on top of each other. And then there's a couple of bass flurries, and then some muted sort of chunky guitar chords where he's just holding his whole hand over the strings, and the drums drift in with some sort of swirling keyboards, and when the drums are in, it's a really nice sort of it's a nice groove. But halfway through, everything sort of drops out, and it kind of goes back to the beginning again, and it sort of sounds like it sounds almost as if it kind of the whole song really starts again in with stuff coming in the same order. It's as if there's like 2 versions of the same song sort of stuck together. They are slightly different, but I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, the track is over 5 minutes long. I'm not going to complain about that, because I mean, just think of it of being able to hear the song twice without having to get off the sofa. Traditionally, I've always had a bit of a thing with instrumentals, because I always think of them as being sort of unfinished songs, or songs where the writer can't come up with a decent lyric, or can't be bothered to. I think this sort of stems from being a 70s kid and being having prog rock thrust upon me from the likes of bands like Yes and ELP that sort of twiddled off on sort of 20-minute keyboard solos. So I think that's where my dislike of instrumentals comes from. But it's not the case with this song. But it does I always wonder how they come up with titles for instrumentals. I mean, why is this song called Long-Tailed Winter Bird? What's the song got to do with a long-tailed winter bird, or any type of bird for that matter? And why does Paul write so many songs about birds or to do with birds? I've got a list here of all the songs that I think are related to birds: Blackbird, Bluebird, Single Pigeon, The Great Cock and Seagull Race, Jenny Wren, Morse Moose and the Grey Goose, all bird songs. He does like a song about a bird. But Long-Tailed Winter Bird, it's got a great groove. It hasn't really got much of a lyric, but it has got a great groove, and it just sounds really good. It doesn't bore me even at 5.5 minutes. So I'm giving Long-Tailed Winter Bird a whopping 8 out of 10. Next up is Find My Way, which I think is probably the most catchy song on the album. And during this song, we find out that Paul knows his left from his right, which we can all be relieved about. But this is a great little sort of upbeat pop song based around a two-chord riff, and you know, despite that sort of rather clumsy lyrical faux pas in the opening couplet, in the middle eight he sort of he goes into his falsetto voice, and he comes up, he comes up with a lovely sort of meaningful lyric. You never used to be afraid of days like these, and now you're overwhelmed by your anxieties. Let me help you out. Let me be your guide. Let me help you reach the love you feel inside. It's great. It's great stuff. And when he sings, I'm not a big fan of his falsetto voice, but when he sings faster songs with his falsetto voice, it sounds okay. It really works in this song. There's a little horn part which is played on keyboards, and drum flourishes sort of in between the verse and chorus, and they sort of break up the song quite nicely, because he's just repeating sort of verse and chorus lyrics. And as we head sort of into the last minute of the song, in the final verse, he's got himself sort of double tracked, so he's singing the melody and the harmony himself, and it kind of sounds really great to get him harmonising with himself. And sort of just when you think the song has come to its natural conclusion, it comes back in with some sort of twiddly guitar and some more horns, and it just feels like there's lots going on musically, enough to make the song interesting and catchy, despite its sort of lyrical limitations. And generally, his voice is in great shape on this, even the falsetto part. So Find My Way, I'm also giving an 8 out of 10. Next up is Pretty Boys, which is an acoustic-led song. It's in a sort of folky style, and the guitar is sort of picky in both the style and the sound, I think, of Some Days from the Flaming Pie album. It's quite a serious song, sort of sticking up for male models, which is a pretty odd topic for Paul to write about. And it took quite a long time for this song to drop with me, but it's I found that it's a bit of a grower, and I like it a lot now. So Pretty Boys, I'm giving 7.5 out of 10. The song 4 is Women and Wives, which is the first sort of piano led track on the album. And I think that this song, it lacks a good melody for me. And I think that the king of melody has kind of missed a trick here. Some more work on the melody, and this could have been a really good song. But for me, it's fairly average, and it doesn't really go anywhere. It feels like the sort of song that Paul was writing around the time of Chaos and Creation in the Backyard. It has that sort of feel, but I think that if it had been written around that time, it probably would have been an outtake from that album, because there are many better songs than this on Chaos and Creation. So Women and Wives, I'm going to give 6. So song 5 is Lavatory Lil. And when you see that title written on the back of an album sleeve, you kind of fear the worst, I think. But this is a great song. It's a great song. A real sort of stomp rocker. My theory is that Lavatory Lil is the secret love child of me, Mr. Mustard, and Polythene Pam, but don't tell anyone. It's a great sort of Wings style 70s guitar riff. And when Paul was asked who this song was about, he said he would never say. But I don't know. I'm listening to the words, and for me, this song is about Heather Mills, in my opinion. Some of the words. She says it's hunky-dory when she's telling you a story, but she really thinks you're making her ill. And then there's another line where he says, you think she's being friendly, but she's looking for a Bentley. And another one that goes, if you saw she was coming, you would get up off the track, but it isn't easy when she hits you in the back. So, yeah, that's Heather for me, I think. Maybe a few clues, maybe I'm reading too much into it. You tell me what you think. By the way, of course, obviously throughout that, do comment on your favourite songs on this album. What if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me, songs you love, such songs you don't like so much, stuff like that. I want to hear from you on that. But that's Lavatory Lil. I like it a lot, so I'm giving that an 8. So if you're listening to this album on CD, then the next track is Deep Deep Feeling. But as we've got the album up here, the next track and the final track on side 1 is Slidin. So we'll look at that one first. So this song is the only one on the album, I think, that where Paul doesn't play all the instruments. He's got Rusty Anderson from his band on guitar, and Abe, the drummer, on here as well. And it's just as well because this track needs a proper drummer because there's a really tricky sort of time signature during the riff of this song. But it's a great sort of grungy rock track, thumping drums, distorted guitar. Definitely the heaviest song on the album, and he belts out the vocal on this like he's 25 again. Absolutely fantastic. Really like this track, so it's getting a big 8. So first track on side 2 is Deep Deep Feeling. It's 8.5 minutes long, and I think it's brilliant. It's another sort of experimental track, but this is what you're going to get if you stick Macca in a room on his own with no one to tell him when to stop. You're going to get these experimental tracks where he doesn't know when to stop. We've seen it all before. Secret Friend, Check My Machine, those sort of songs where he's just playing about. But this song is different to those. It's got a really great vibe. It's very atmospheric. Big drums, big piano, a big sort of open sound stage. You have to listen to this loud. Even when the lyrics are repetitive, the changes that are going on behind them musically sort of carry it through and keep your attention. It kind of reminds me a little bit, not it doesn't sound anything like it, but it reminds me a little bit of I Want You, She's So Heavy from Abbey Road, where John, just sings these 3 lines of lyric, but he sings them differently every single time. And that's why the song's not boring. And it's something similar here because he's got lots of stuff going on musically. Vocally, there's a sort of there's a standalone voice, there's a harmonised voice, there's a synth voice, there's a falsetto voice, and the emotion that he puts into the vocals when he sings the line, you think your heart is going to burst. It actually makes you believe that his heart is going to burst. It's a very, very powerful song, I think. Even the time signature changes at 6 minutes to sort of give it a bit of variation. And when you think it's finished, it comes back in with a sort of an acoustic guitar interlude, which might just be the original demo from the song. I don't know if it is, but it is a really interesting song, and for me, it's the best track on the album, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10. So track 2 on side 2 is The Kiss of Venus. Now, this is my least favourite song on the album. It's sort of an acoustic-led song, and he sings it with the falsetto voice. And when the song is slow or doesn't really have any great momentum, or not much going on musically, his voice is exposed, and it exposes the frailties that we've come to get used to as as he's got older, and that's sort of my main complaint about it, really. The best thing about this song is towards the end, there's this sort of harpsichord comes in, very similar sort of sound to what's used on Piggies from the White Album. But the Kiss of Venus, it's not doing it for me. So I'm afraid that's a 4 out of 10 for Kiss of Venus. So next up is Seize the Day. I like this song. It's a 3-minute pop song, which after all is what Paul does best. Lyrics are a little bit silly in places. Something about Eskimos' toes turning to ice. But nonetheless, it's very catchy with nice sort of guitar parts and piano parts. I'm not sure about the sort of the drum breaks in between the opening lines. I don't care to be bad, da da da. I'm not sure that a real drummer would have done that. Well, unless Paul had told him to. But it's a kind of a sort of a punctuation that doesn't really need to be there. But the track it's inoffensive and it's very well done. I like this song a lot. I'm going to give Seize the Day 7. So the penultimate track is Deep Down, and this is the third experimental song on the album, I think. And I think probably out of the three, this is probably the weakest. It's 5 minutes long. The drums and keyboards sort of lead the song. There's flourishes of horns. He sings it straight in parts, and in others he goes all sort of Montgomery Moon Delight on us, which is great. I'm not keen on the sound that he's getting on his snare. It sounds sort of very sort of flabby, and the keyboards are a little bit annoying in parts because they're very present in the sound throughout, and they don't sort of do much. But it's a very atmospheric song with lots of space. It's got great sound apart from the snare. I'm not sure about I want to party all night as a lyric for a 78-year-old man, but don't knock it. So Deep Down, I'm going to give 7 for Deep Down. So on to the final song on the album, which is Winter Bird / When Winter Comes. So it starts off with a little reprise of Long-Tailed Winter Bird, as if the 5.5 minutes that we had at the start of the album wasn't enough. And then it goes into the main song, When Winter Comes. Now, When Winter Comes was not one of the songs that were recorded during lockdown, or rockdown as he calls it. This song hails from 1992, and you can kind of hear the difference in his voice sort of straight away. So it's co-produced by George Martin, and it's 1992. It's probably an outtake from Off the Ground, I would imagine, and it wouldn't have fitted on that album in this purely acoustic sort of state. So it is an acoustic ballad, and to be honest, lyrically, it's a little bit too twee for my liking. It seems to be about farming and fixing the fence and harvesting the carrots, and I just don't think it doesn't ring true. Paul McCartney isn't fixing his own fence. He's getting a bloke in to do it. He's probably getting a bloke in to pick his carrots as well. And he talks about when food is scarce. Well, I don't think food is ever scarce in the McCartney household. So it doesn't sort of ring true to me. It's a pleasant enough sort of ditty, but lyrically, it's not doing it for me. So final track on the album, I'm giving 5. So sort of summing up, this is a good I think this is a good album. It's not a fantastic album. It's a good album. There's no hits here. I think if anything, there's a little bit of there's a lack of really strong melodies. I think on this song, but there is plenty of texture. The whole album has got a fantastic sound. It really sounds very modern, which is great. The final score is 82.5 for the album. There are 11 tracks, which means the average for the album is 7.75, which makes it sort of just short of a 4-star album, which I think is probably about right. It's not quite a 4-star album, but it's better than a 3-star album. So that's it, really. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel by hitting the button down there. Give the video a like. If you've liked the video, hit the notification bell. Please leave your comments down below. Tell me what you think of the album, and because I want to hear. And I'll see you on the next video. Thanks very much for watching.